Okay, great. Let's give a minute and we'll get started. Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to AI in Action Executive Briefing for CFO and Strategic Leaders. My name is Yuanming. I'm the president and founder of Alpha Variance Solutions, where we recognize Microsoft Global Business Application and AI Frontier Partner. Whether you are joining us from the Philippines, Germany, United States, or anywhere in between, we're thrilled to have you here. Like many of you, I receive invitations to AI webinars almost every week, sometimes every day. So I want to start by thanking you all for choosing to spend this hour with us. What you'll find out that is this is not just another webinar, it's a global conversation among our CFO and finance leaders who are not just simply adapting to changes, they're driving it. Today, we're joined by CFOs and strategic leaders from across industry, from retail, manufacturing, healthcare, technology, professional services, NGO, and financial services, all exploring how AI is reshaping the role of finance. I'm honored to share the stage with two incredible co-presenters from Microsoft. Cory Hrncirik, our Senior Director of Frontier Finance Transformation, and James Wang, Senior Specialist AI Business Process. Together, we'll explore how AI is transforming finance, not in theory, but in action. At AVS, we've spent years working alongside our finance leaders to moderate operations with Microsoft technology offering, including AI-first business applications such as Dynamics 365. Based on our own experience and your input in the readiness survey, one thing is very clear. AI is not a buzzword. AI is business lever. For our CFOs, AI is fast becoming a core competence, a new language for leadership, whether from FP&A to compliance, control to close automation. AI is redefining not only what finance does, but how finance leads. I'd like to share some measurable impact that have been delivered through AI with all of you across different industries. A CFO in retail in the United States has reduced the month-end closing time by 40% by introducing Copilot in Excel, focused on automating reconciliation and variance analysis, while peers in the same geographic region still takes about 15 days to close, spend half time reconciling sales tax and payment. In Germany, a healthcare CFO deployed AI to detect procurement anomalies, uncovering millions in saving within 90 days, while businesses are still struggling with AP automation, manually matching PO with invoices. In financial services, a CFO in the UK has encouraged team to use AI agent deployed in ERP natively to run predictive models for cash flow projection, turning risk into insights. While for some businesses, credit and collection process alone can take a considerable amount of time each month. Those are not pilots or proof of concept. They are real, repeatable, and scalable results. And the reason why I bring it up is many of you also ask for use case that you wanted to get some recommendation to start with. Here are a few that every single business can take in, look into, and maybe use as a starting point. But each one of those all begin with a very simple and practical question. Where can AI help us make better decisions faster? Now, before today's session, many of you has provided feedback in our AI readiness survey, and I wanted to highlight some of the stats, very interesting, insightful stats that stood out to us. 80% of you have identified data quality as a key challenge. More than 1/3 said your 90-day AI priority is forecasting, and 40% of us are still spending manual work, mostly in AR and AP process. Majority of our audience are still in early crawl and walk stage, but you're eager to accelerate. And that's why in the next few minutes, James will unpack Microsoft Practical Framework Crawl, Walk, Run, and show how finance team can progress along this maturity curve with confidence. And after that, Cory would take us behind the scene into Microsoft's own finance transformation journey, sharing insights directly from the Office of CFO, our very own Customer Zero story. I know many of you are very excited about this content, and to be honest, as a Microsoft partner, we've been giving a lot of AI demos and receiving many from Microsoft. We can't wait to dive in. So without further ado, let me turn over to James.
Thank you, Ming. Welcome, everyone. I'm James Wang, a senior specialist at Microsoft. I'm focused on driving AI innovation across line of business applications. And today we're focusing on how Microsoft AI can transform finance operations. When I speak with CFOs, the most common question I hear is, where do we start? And for that, I want to share the Microsoft Copilot Scenario Library, which includes real-world examples for different finance roles and tasks. You'll receive a link to this library after this call, where you can access the full catalog of scenarios. These scenarios help you understand where to start and how to scale usage over time. Each scenario reflects common finance tasks from analysis and reporting to forecasting and reconciliation. You'll see how Copilot improves individual productivity and team-level collaboration. The examples include daily prompts, KPI improvements, and long-term transformation. They're designed for real finance teams working in Excel, Outlook, Word, and Teams. And these are not technical tools. You can use Copilot with simple language like summarize this forecast. The goal is to give you a clear picture of what's possible with Copilot in finance today. Let's start by understanding how value builds over time from individuals to the full organization. In order to do that, let's talk about how we scale value with Copilot. We describe this as a value journey, one that grows over time, starting with individual productivity and expanding to transform entire functions and ultimately the organization. At the base of this pyramid, we have individual value. This is where adoption typically begins, with knowledge workers using Copilot to save time, complete tasks faster, and work more effectively. It's about building confidence in daily habits with Copilot. As usage matures, we move into the functional value, and this is where we see role-based agents and workflows tailored to a function, such as finance, sales, or HR. Functional scenarios help teams work smarter, not just faster, with better decision support and collaboration. And at the top of this pyramid is organizational value. This is where autonomous agents and industry-specific scenarios start to drive measurable business outcomes. At this stage, Copilot becomes a strategic lever to improve KPIs across the enterprise, whether that's revenue, margin, risk mitigation, or speed to market. So when we talk to customers, we meet them where they are, but always with an eye on what's next in the journey. Here are 10 high-impact, easy-to-use Copilot use cases for finance teams to try today. They include analyzing cash flow, reconciling data, writing reports, and forecasting sales. Each use case uses natural prompts and tools you already know. There's no technical setup needed. You can ask Copilot to draft a financial summary, find variances, or create a board-ready presentation. These quick wins help finance professionals see immediate value from day one. They're great for boosting confidence and encouraging wider adoption in your team. You don't need a full rollout plan to start. Just try one prompt and see the result. These scenarios are also good for onboarding new users and testing team-specific needs. The more you explore these prompts, the more efficient your work becomes. Let's use these examples as a foundation before diving into advanced finance scenarios. Not every Copilot use case needs the same setup. This slide explains the 4 effort levels. Start is the entry point into generative AI. It's lightweight, low friction, and fast to deploy. Customers here are just getting familiar with the concept and want quick wins. Buy and use ready-made tools like Microsoft 365 Copilot designed for common finance needs, unlocking out-of-box productivity in Microsoft 365 apps. Extend, when you're ready to move up the maturity curve, this is about tailoring Copilot to fit the organization's unique workflows. You're tapping into role-based scenarios, data from your CRM or ERP systems, and agent creation. Build is the deepest integration, where organizations create AI-driven applications using their own models and data. It's highly custom and powerful. Most finance teams begin with start use cases because they're fast, they're effective, and there's no need for IT support. Extend and buy bring in more scale and sophistication as teams grow more confident. While build allows full control, but it's optional. Most benefits can be achieved before this step. You can map your journey based on what's easiest to implement and where you'll see impact. Use this as a model to communicate and drive your adoption strategy internally. We'll now explore Microsoft as customer zero. And to lead us through that journey, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Cory.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, James. Appreciate being here. It's great to be on this wonderful webinar. I can see some things in the chat about some people being able to see the slides and some not. I apologize for that. I'm going to try to share my screen, and we will see if that fixes it or not. If not, I'm sure there's people in the background feverishly working on it. So let's see. So hopefully many of you can see this. As was mentioned by James, I work in our finance division here at Microsoft, and I lead what we call Frontier Finance. Frontier Finance really is our vision for transforming everything that we do in our finance function here. I work for our CFO, Amy Hood, and we have a lot of great, smart finance people across every finance domain, from accounting and tax and treasury, FP&A, audit, risk, compliance. We even have real estate, security, corporate development, business development, and many other functions. And so this Frontier Finance umbrella for us is very wide. And we've been using technology to streamline every task for every professional that works in our team. It really is, as this slide says, it's changing the way that operations really run here at Microsoft, to run everything that we do as a company. We've been asking ourselves what this Frontier Finance or what this Frontier Firm means. This is a concept that Microsoft has created. And what we're really seeing it play out in real time in our organization. It really is this fusion of human judgment and AI agents to scale the work that we do, help us accomplish more than we ever could before. It really is empowering people to achieve more. It works great. You see some of the core characteristics there. I won't read them all. I'll just read the bullet points, the high level ones. AI operated, human led. That's a core kind of goal that we have. Humans will always be in the loop. We're thinking about how work gets done more than org charts. We're starting that process now. This agent boss mindset is interesting. The concept of a human managing a group of agents that can complete tasks on their behalf. And I think the team already covered some great stats about why now. I mean, there's just amazing convergence right now of compute power, of the AI models, of the desire for people to want to come on this journey of better data than we've ever had, of cloud-based platforms that enable us to accomplish these very complex transformations. We have a very forward-thinking CFO at Microsoft here, Amy. She has been challenging us to build a frontier finance organization for at least the past decade. I think she's been CFO now for 12 years. And you can see here a quote from her: building a frontier finance organization pushes the boundaries of what's possible. And we really do leverage advanced technology to enable everybody in our finance team to do their work better than ever before. So what this means for finance, by the way, is it's a shift in the way that we work. And we've seen this play out in Microsoft Finance for at least the 17 years that I've been at the company working in our finance division. When I started, a lot of our efforts were very transactionally focused. We worked on manual work. We needed to refresh data from many different data sources. We needed to really analyze it manually, stitch stuff together, build reports and visuals and all of that stuff. To be honest, a lot of it required basic business understanding. It was a lot of task management. And we started outsourcing some of those activities before the technology was really capable of doing what we needed to do today. And we started changing the way that we work. We started hiring differently. Even 17 years ago, we started hiring more classes of MBAs and other university hires and industry hires, building out a group of people who can think differently, who can press the boundaries of what's possible. That really is moving into frontier finance. And our goal now is to really focus our people's time on things that they are uniquely qualified to do. Deep analytical and strategic thinking and influencing business partners and managing diverse projects and stitching together things to help move Microsoft forward. And we've been doing this, as I mentioned, for a long time, but we see this accelerating in the coming months, coming years, as AI continues to take all of the tasks at the bottom and streamline those more than we've ever seen before. So what does that look like for Microsoft? I mentioned that we've already been on the journey. I'm going to cover this very quickly. I'm not going to belabor it. You see a lot of years on this slide. That's just because we've been gated by technology. Today, if you're starting this journey or if you're at any point on your journey, you do not have to wait as we did. But the core principles, the rows are important here. So for us, culture transformation is first. You've got to have a culture that you start to build today. People leaning in, becoming change agents, adopting technology in different ways, and looking at processes more, differently than you ever have before. That's really important. Data is fundamental. James already mentioned it. I think it will come up every time you talk to anyone. We've built a unified data platform for management reporting at the company. That gave us a big leg up when we started using AI. And every project that we start requires a data aspect. We need to go get and clean data so that we can train AI models. Reporting, business intelligence is also key. We want to make decisions for the company. The best thing, if we're talking about AI here, I keep using this as a litmus test. If you struggle to build reporting today to analyze critical insights about your business, AI probably won't magically solve that problem. It shows that you probably have a data challenge. I hear from CFOs all the time that it takes them 2 or 3 weeks at the end of a month or quarter to really get a sense of what's going on in their company. And they think AI will magically solve that. Unfortunately, it's probably not true. Probably means you need to do some work on that data platform piece, get to a point where you could build a Power BI or an Excel report pretty quickly to get those insights. And then AI on top of that will expand what you can get done. It will help automate some of those processes. It will really help take your finance function to the next level. We've been on the AI journey about a decade almost. We started with forecasting. We moved into recommendations, what we today would call co-pilots or virtual agents. And we started automating tasks with AI. Things like invoice approvals and expense approvals, reconciliations, journal entry preparation, things like that. And now we've been in the era of Gen AI 2.5 years, just like everybody else. And that's the piece I want to cover on mostly today for the rest of our time. The generative AI timeline, if we look at our finance division, I'll start with ChatGPT. ChatGPT obviously launched in November 2022, changed the world, right? Everybody, for the first time, it really entered AI into everyone's lexicon, right? Everyone was talking about generative AI and ChatGPT and these GPT models, generative pre-trained transformer models. It's pretty cool. It reached 1 million users in 5 days. I think fastest consumer product to do that, which is awesome. At Microsoft, we've been using AI for many years, but really what it did is opened our eyes to additional possibilities. It opened our eyes to what this new technology could do for finance. And so we quickly generated a big list of 130 ideas. We refined it to the top 12. We built business cases for those, looking for those that really would drive higher ROI for our company. And we took them to Amy, and she helped us shortlist the top 6. So we set off on this year journey to build 6 Gen AI projects. We delivered the first one about 3 months later. It was a document intelligence solution for contract review. And I'll show it to you in just a second. Really opened our eyes to what was possible. We learned a lot, and we just kept going, building out others and building out, even from that, expanding into other document intelligence solutions. In January 2024, we got access to Copilot for M365. My team leads Copilot adoption for the finance group, and we've been driving training and adoption. We have local champs who facilitate the adoption of Copilot in every team, in every org. By the summer of 2024, we had not only delivered 6, but we had delivered probably a dozen different Gen AI solutions, some of them actually platforms that we could use in multiple different places, like this Tolstoy, which I'll talk about briefly in a minute, that really helps you streamline any document intelligence. When I say build, by the way, we use out-of-the-box Microsoft tools. We're really, as James outlined, there's kind of that 4-stage process you can go on. We started with the full build stage on the far right because that was what was available to us at the beginning. As we go along, more and more of these out-of-the-box capabilities come online for everybody else to benefit from. And I'll talk about some of those, especially the role-based AI that you can use to extend Copilot, for example. And then this year, we've really focused on some of our first enterprise-grade agents that we've launched, built ourselves in Copilot Studio, and we've launched Fabric data agents. That's going to be the real secret to harnessing the power of that unified data platform and turning it into insights with a natural user interface that people can talk to their data, essentially. So I'm going to step back for just a minute. I'm going to simplify even what James said one step further, right? Like, we really think about this in very simple terms. It's our people. Our people are the best. Your people are the best. Our finance people really know the business better than anyone else. We want to give them great tools to be able to be as efficient as possible. Those tools for us, I don't mean this as a sales pitch. I'm just a finance guy. But the tools for us are going to be Copilot, giving everybody a personal assistant that can help them get their work done and orchestrate all the tasks that need to be done behind the scenes, and agents to do those tasks. Agents really are the task makers. Those are the ones that get to work and are specially trained to go do specific tasks for finance people. These can be things like reconciliation, variance analysis, forecasting, could be a million other things, data preparation, et cetera, et cetera. And the way that we think about this is everything kind of building out from the data component. As I mentioned, data is critical. Every time you start a new Gen AI project, every time you start an AI project in general, you need to clean up your data. For us, that data sits in SAP as our general ledger. We surround it with applications that we home grow in Azure, D365, and then, of course, M365, Microsoft 365. That's where really all of our data sits. You know, if you think about everything from our general ledger all the way through to our Microsoft Graph, our emails and OneNote documents and other things, that's all data. At a first level, we use Copilot to really interface with all that information. That's our goal. And that Copilot itself has many capabilities. I'll cover it in just a second. And then agents help us build and extend what we can do with Copilot to really do those very specific tasks. You see some of the things we use most often in finance listed on the far edges. The analyst agent is out of the box from Microsoft. Data preparation, finance reconciliation, and variance analysis are role-based finance capabilities new in Copilot for M365. We've been using them and testing them now for the past 2 years. They're awesome. If you need to do those tasks, these are great ways that Copilot can essentially call those task completion agents, which is great. We also use tools like Azure AI Foundry and Copilot Studio to build our own homegrown agents. And we've been doing that longer than any of the rest of this. And so I'll focus a little bit more on that just so you can see what that looks like. I'll start with Copilot really briefly. As I mentioned, our goal is to have every one of our finance people using Copilot for every task, every day. And Copilot really is your personal assistant helping you get work done. These are slides. We've got many of these out on the internet that showcase the way that many people in finance do their jobs every day with Copilot. This is a very, very brief snippet of 6 tasks that Amelia used to work on my team, and this is how she gets her work done, right? She starts in chat. She understands her inbox. She understands what's going on in her day. She goes to Teams. She analyzes the transcript, right? She puts it into pages so that she can collaborate with me or another teammate, for example. She may want to go to Outlook to write her manager a quick message. She can write it in seconds versus several minutes because Outlook can consolidate all this information from many different sources. She may even want to go build a simple agent, maybe something here to go look at some products across competitors. I think she built a very simple declarative agent here, doing something very specific that she wanted to do. And then finally, of course, Excel is a core part of any finance person's job. It will probably remain so for a long time, but Excel is so smart now. If you haven't seen it, go check out Agent Mode. It is awesome. You can just speak to Excel. It'll go do your work. You can say, hey, I want to analyze variances. I want to look at this. Can you graph or chart this? And Excel goes to work and does that work for you. So for the normal work that we do, these kind of Copilot experiences really streamline those tasks. For everything else, we think about building agents. Agents can vary from simple to advanced. On the simple side, these can be something as simple as, hey, I just want to go find the right policy for a specific task. In this case, an employee reimbursement, all the way through to maybe a reconciliation. It requires a little bit more math, a little bit more three-way matching, a little bit more, we need a little bit more checks and balances perhaps in that process. And so that could be an agent that's a little bit more robust. And you see a few in between. I'll jump through these really quickly. I'm going to run out of time if I'm not careful here. But just so you see, these are things that we've actually built or use in our finance department. This is one that we built, a policy agent. It saves 8,500 hours, about $1 million that we've saved so far with this policy agent. It works great. We have 220,000 employees at the company. And this policy assistant helps every one of those employees find the policy that they need to any question that they may encounter. In this case, somebody's wondering about country supplements for employee expense reimbursements. They ask the question. Language models are really good at sorting through all of these policy documents and bringing up the right one. You see here we embed a deep link into a Word document where we store the actual policy. This is a fairly simple agent. We built it in a couple months. You can see we use some of the basic kind of out of the box Azure AI Foundry tools to build this. The document intelligence solution that I referenced, we call it Tolstoy internally. This is, again, homegrown using a bunch of the Azure AI Foundry tools. Basically, it can extract, first translate, I should say, then extract, and then help reason over complex documents like contracts, invoices, tenders, RFP, bids, you name it, any kind of document. We figure we have about 80 different document types here within finance. So we've stitched these different capabilities together to build a document intelligence solution. And V2, about to launch soon, will make this completely self-serve so that anyone can upload any of their documents and analyze them in this way. The Finance Insights Assistant is super interesting. This one is the one that probably most finance people want when they think about what AI can do. Essentially, we took a unified data platform, we pre-indexed that data for use by AI, and then we used prompt engineering to ensure we can translate natural language into code to analyze numerical data. In this case, into SQL, because a lot of our data sits in SQL cubes. And here you can see some of these snapshots. Somebody could say, show me the security Azure consumed revenue for UK, France, and Germany in these 3 years. Azure consumed revenue is a key metric for Microsoft, of course. And so when you do that, it writes a SQL query like the one on the far right, and it executes that, brings back the results consistently every time. This has been a great approach. It worked well for us. Now, an agent like the Fabric Data Agent, which is out of the box from Microsoft, can actually help you do this exact same thing, which is great. But we built this before that was available. I want to cover a couple of agents that are just out of the box from Microsoft. These are new in M365. They're called Finance. If you go look for Finance agents, they are super cool. This one's a financial analysis agent. This one essentially can take a pivot like this one, and you can ask it to compare two things, compare forecast to actuals, compare this year to last year. And it will go understand why they're different and write a quick description. This is a lot of what people do in finance at the end of months and quarters. This agent now can do this for you in a flash, which is amazing. It's going to save us lots of time in our finance org, let our people go focus on higher value work. You can also save these, by the way, save this little variance analysis that I just did into a template, and then I can schedule that template to run at any cadence that I want, every week, every month. And I can schedule to go look up. In this case, I think we're looking at, maybe some of the products, for example, but I could set it up to look at geos or any other dimension. I could set up multiple templates, orchestrate them all behind the scenes. Super amazing. We're just scratching the surface of what AI can do for finance, but this is a great example. Another custom-built agent that really is driving, it's fairly complex. I'm getting, as you notice, I'm moving from simple to more advanced. This one is more complex, but we built with our IT department a new homegrown collections platform on Dynamics, on D365. This D365 collection agent is really unique because it can look at an AI prioritized list of customers who may be at risk of paying us late. But it goes one step further. It then summarizes all correspondence with that customer, with all those customers. And then it can also do things like this big screenshot here. It can write the email itself and help answer their questions to try to prompt them to pay their bills on time. We're already seeing this reduce thousands of hours for collections. It took us, I think, from 26 days it used to take us to resolve late pay customers to something like 5 or 6 today. Amazing, really amazing time savings here, huge cost savings, and some of this we outsourced many years ago as well. Another really cool agent, this one is unique because this is one of our first agents that actually tells us what to do. It, behind the scenes, analyzes RFPs from suppliers and compares it to our databases, looks up all kinds of information, does some criteria assessment for us, and then comes back to us and says, this is a great vendor to consider for this RFP. This is probably the top vendor in our opinion, the agent's opinion, right? And it gives them other alternatives. Here's some alternatives. Here's why. Here's what I thought. It really is acting like that junior analyst who can come back with a very smart recommendation. Of course, the human is in the loop. We can override that. We can understand the weightings and criteria, and we can make a change based on judgment. But this saves us so much time. I think it cuts our RFP process in about half, from 25-ish weeks on average now to closer to 12. Amazing savings for us, and obviously some ensuring that we can secure the right deals for Microsoft. I think my last agent here that I'm gonna share, and then I'll wrap up, is this reconciliation agent. This is another one of the out-of-the-box finance capabilities of M365 Copilot that is pretty powerful. Our team has been using it now for 2 years, maybe 18 months. Essentially, think of every time you have to go build a VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP in Excel to go compare 2 different data sets, or maybe you have a more robust reconciliation process. This agent works great. It can actually go do that for you without writing any code. You can just say, I've got this spreadsheet, I've got that spreadsheet. Can you go compare them and tell me what's different? It will go do that. It will create a reconciliation report that you can see here on the screen. It'll show you what's different between each of the different tabs, and then it will write a reconciliation report for you. A lot of complicated things are going on behind the scenes. Streamlines a lot of things. It can do 3-way matching now. And this is also something you can save as a template and then execute it at a cadence or upon a trigger, for example, when new files are uploaded to a SharePoint site or something like that. We're also using this agent to build customized agents on top of this in Copilot Studio today. We just built one for tax reconciliation, for example, where we're using this agent combined with other tools to accomplish something more complex, which is pretty awesome. So I think my time is drawing short. I'll just end here with a couple of key takeaways. First, culture is so important. As you kind of get the sense, there's a lot of moving parts now. There is a lot of change happening for finance. It is important. In fact, it's imperative that people embrace this new change, that we help our people actually start learning about technology, adopting a growth mindset, figuring out how they can be change agents to move this work forward. It is going to be an amazing next few months, years, as technology truly does push us to the frontier of what we ever thought was possible with finance. Culture is at the heart of all of that. Process is really important. We keep telling our people we don't want to automate a bad process. So first, before we do anything, we step back. We evaluate the processes. We understand what we do today, what we could change, what we could simplify, what we could stop doing. We map out an ideal process, and then we want to go apply technology to streamline that process. Data, I've said it many times, you've heard it, it is more critical than ever before. It's team sport. It's something that will require you to really work across boundaries, pull together data from multiple different parts of your company into one place, and really build a unified data platform that can help you get your work done faster and better. And once you apply AI to that, then you can think about automating and making finance more autonomous in general. And finally, security and compliance is at the heart of everything we do, especially in finance. All of our data is very important, is very confidential, secure, and so we trust the Microsoft Cloud implicitly for everything that we do. It's important as you think about this. We don't use third-party tools for many reasons, but one of them is security. We wouldn't ever go put any of our finance data into any third-party tool, just because that would then sit on their servers. We make sure that everything that we do sits within our Microsoft tenant, whether it be in Azure and M365, and that way we can keep ourselves secure as we move fast to accelerate our own innovations, build agents, use agents out of the box, and really push what's possible, push the boundaries, and build a frontier finance organization. It has been such a pleasure to be with you today. I think we will probably continue to take questions and comments and chat, but I will hand it back over to the team for the next steps.
Thank you so much, Cory, and thank you, James, for taking us through the journey. The next part, let me take our presentation back on the screen. And make sure everybody can see it this time. Thanks for your feedback, by the way, during the session. Is that I think both James and Cory has already covered some of the questions along the way of their presentation, but ahead of the session, we have asked our audience if there's any specific questions that you want us to kind of include and consider, whether to shaping the content and discussion today or to ask our presenters here. So we have prepared 4 questions, 2 for James, 2 for Cory, to help provide some takeaways for our audience. So let me start with the first question for James. So James, you've talked about the crawl, walk, run journey, right? And I know you have guided many organizations through this journey as well. What are the most common pitfalls they have seen when they start adopting AI, and how can we avoid that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you. We heard a lot of this from Cory. One of the most common pitfalls that I see in finance teams is jumping straight into complex AI solutioning without first aligning on the clear business outcomes. It's tempting to chase the latest technology, and there's a lot of great things out there, but without a solid foundation, and Cory mentioned this, clean data, process clarity, and stakeholder buy-in, AI efforts we've seen stall. And the other big thing I will call out is just underestimating change management. Cory touched on this as well, right? Culture, driving a culture within the organization. AI isn't just a tool. It's going to change and shift how decisions are made. So CFOs and strategic leaders can avoid these traps by starting small, focusing on high impact use cases, and building cross-functional teams that blend both the finance expertise and some of those tech skills that you're growing in the organization today. I do want to address earlier for anyone that had trouble viewing the slides as we were going through them earlier in the presentation, we will be following up with you with a link so that you can see and access the entire Copilot scenario library. And you'll also be able to get some of those scenarios that have been shared today as well, and how to get started. So.
Fantastic. Thank you, James. And the second question is around, we've seen a lot of examples in your example, in Cory's example, regarding different use cases that we can apply in AI. If for organizations or CFOs who wanted to get started, if they are still at a very early stage, they want to show some early wins, right? And quick wins. What can AI deliver in terms of fastest measurable impact? Can you give some examples?
I'll invite Cory to answer this as well from the firsthand experience. But from my perspective, in the organizations that I work with, AI can deliver the quickest, fastest win and the most measurable impact in forecasting. And I believe Cory even touched on that too. Microsoft started our journey in forecasting as well, because it's where finance teams feel the most pain of manual effort. And it's where AI can quickly add value by automating data aggregation or spotting trends, improving accuracy, or comparing, year over year, month over month, right? So CFOs and others can show early wins by using AI to reduce the forecast cycles, increase confidence in your projections, and free up time for, as Cory mentioned, once again, those higher value activities and strategic analysis. So, that being said, close and reporting are definitely close seconds, but especially when AI is used to streamline reconciliations or automate narrative generation, those are definitely key areas where we can ascertain value. But the key is to start where your data is rich and the process is repetitive, and that's where you'll see the most impact, and that's where AI shines.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think part of that answer has already been highlighted in our previous session, where the slides where we're talking about the stacks, the survey that you had provided, right? Many of us talk about, majority of the manual work are in ARAP, for example, or in forecast FP&A, in closing. Those are the area that we know is labor intense. It takes a lot of time. It's very repetitive. Those happen to be the use case that should be considered at the first kind of a candidate for AI to take a look at and help you with enhance your process today. Great, thank you. And I'm going to turn over to Cory. Cory, from your perspective, right, during your career at Microsoft, you've seen finance evolve and transform. You've given a lot of examples already through the timeline. Is there any one or few lessons learned that you wanted to provide to our finance leaders here as takeaway? I know you have shared quite a bit, but if you wanted to highlight a couple few, do you mind share that?
Yeah, I think I shared a lot of them already, but just thinking about it a little bit more, things that I didn't really talk about as much. But I would say this, one of the key learnings probably is the need for continuous improvement, right? Like we're actually even adopting lean principles now, even as a finance function. Microsoft has also hired some really smart people recently into a chief strategy officers organization to actually step back and look at our process. We've hired a couple of people from organizations that are very good at lean and have been using it for many years. And we're applying that to business process now. And so that goes a little bit into what I was talking about briefly on process, understanding our processes and process mapping. We have finance teams doing full Gemba walks now, understanding all the moving parts and getting a team in the room and looking at putting sticky notes on a whiteboard to understand all the various steps. And then understanding the critical paths and bottlenecks and dependencies and then the other part of the continuous improvement that I just want to stress is this is not a one and done thing. I think one key learning is that we have tried to just land and expand. We tried to build something quickly, learn from it as much as we can, and then scale. And that helps us really move fast, and move with agility. We don't have all the answers. We haven't, for this, certainly the last 2.5 years, Gen AI is new to us all. And so since we don't know how to use the new tools, we just go build a small project. We don't try to tackle the world. We don't try to tackle all of our pain points, I should say. We just go pick one small project that we think will drive impact and kind of wrestle through it, right? There's no other way to say it. And in so doing, we learn how to do that task. And then all of a sudden we can apply it to more and more, problem areas. And we start to scale not only from a cost perspective, it becomes incrementally much, with our diminishing costs, obviously, as we expand, but also we can take on more and more complex tasks. And so that's one critical learning I didn't really touch on as much, but I would say get comfortable with that form of working, get comfortable working in an agile way, get comfortable with maybe less of a waterfall approach, more of an agile approach where we actually wrestle with things. We unpack, one piece of the puzzle at a time and keep keep building and adding to it over time.
Great, thank you. And I really enjoyed the content about, this is very human-centric approach, right? It's not about AI taking over the entire process. It's about helping our team, our finance team, to do things better, to do things more effective. So in any transformation journeys, we've always talked about the hardest part is never really just technology. It's usually people in the center, right? So how is Microsoft helping our financial professionals to upskill, to embrace AI, and rather than seeing it as a threat? I think this is a question probably a lot of our audience wanted to ask.
Great question. And we are passionate about our people. We are driven and focused on helping all of them become AI fluent. That is our goal, especially this year. We've been working on it for many years in my team. We've had learning programs for the past 7 or 8 years that I've been in this role, leading our frontier finance efforts. We've been training people on change management, on using low-code, no-code tools, on building applications themselves. But it's different now. I would say the appetite from people is definitely changed. It's definitely higher. And the ability to drive true impact has changed. And so Amy has challenged us this year to really enable every person to be fluent in AI, every person to build agents, and to use Copilot in the most effective ways possible. And so just to give you an idea, this is real information, I guess, from our team. We just launched our new fiscal year learning plan. Our fiscal year goes from July to June. And so after the summer, we launched a new plan. And we're just a couple months in now. That new plan focuses on a few key areas. We kind of came up with this 3-pronged approach. We are going to deploy applicable real-world training centrally, created by my team and a great group of technical champs across finance. The second step is we're going to expand locally. So we're going to depend on a network of frontier finance leads in every team. We have about 100 frontier finance leads nominated by all leaders across finance. And then third point is we're going to scale what works. And so that's about capturing feedback and learnings and ideas from others and sharing those best practices across our team as fast as possible. So those 3 steps are critical for us this year. We're focusing on, we started, just to give you an idea, our first training was on using the pre-built out-of-the-box agents more effectively in our finance group. And so those include the analyst agent. Analyst is amazing at just crunching numbers. You can upload an Excel spreadsheet, tell it what to do, and it will go to work. Researcher is great at handling complex text from multiple different sources. It could be meeting transcripts or documents of different kinds. And so we train people on how to use that. We also train people on the new finance capabilities of M365, variance analysis, reconciliation, and data preparation, which I mentioned during the session. And so we trained everybody locally. We had finance people deliver the training, showing people how to use those tools. And then every local team is conducting their own workshops to make it real for their own teams. And we get feedback from those and we share it with everyone. So we'll continue that. The next step will be the new or Excel agent, I should say, agent mode, which is awesome. We'll talk about agent mode and other products. That will be our next training. We'll do other trainings about building agents. We'll do trainings on agent flows. We'll do trainings on fabric data agents. So that gives you a little context of real world trainings that we're doing in our finance org right now, just to help our people be fluent in AI this year.
Yes, it's all about how do we upscale together, right? And inclusive, and also bring people along the way and let them see the results. Start from small to big, right? How to scale afterwards. Right. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that questions still are rolling in. And I want to say that for those of our audience who has already provided some questions on the chat, I saw them. I know some of you haven't got a chance to ask all the questions yet. Don't worry about that. We will, after the session, collect your questions and feedbacks and provide answers along with our Microsoft team, because not every single question is about how do we do it. It might be, do I have the data in the place that we can start using using it for AI? Is it just Microsoft product? Can we use other products? So on and so forth. All of those questions are great questions and valid questions. And we're here to help you with those questions, whether it's the technology offering or how do we partner together to help you with this journey. Afterwards, we also will offer what we call one-on-one strategy sessions and in-depth envisioning workshop. Those are sessions to, designed to help you, for example, shortlist the use cases that Cory has talked about. We might have hundreds of those that you want to look into. What are the ones that will deliver the most values, quick wins for our team so that we can start, bring our team upskill on AI? Or is there a specific solution that fit into your business application, your current landscape of IT solutions within your organization? Does that fit into your cost budget and as well as roadmap and timeline, right? And if you have other questions regarding how does my internal development team can be upskilled to build their own agents, how do I, help our team, our finance team to adopt? Those are the questions that we can spend some time together in those envisioning workshop. And we encourage you to, provide some feedbacks and schedule those sessions with us so that we can deepen our conversation. So as we're approaching the end of the webinar, I'd really like to take the opportunity to thank our co-presenters, James and Cory. Thank you so much for putting this content together and presenting with us together. And thanks for our CFOs and global audience for spending the 60 minutes with ABS and Microsoft. I hope you find the session very insightful and looking forward to connecting with you after the session. So have a good day and cheers.
Thank you.